Hello everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and today I want to share with you how I am putting together our winter themed unit. This is primarily for my 6-year-old, but this would work well for any age group, but especially for the younger years, preschool, toddlerhood, pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, second grade. Those are great years to have this kind of a thematic unit. Now, as part of this themed unit, we are also going to be creating our winter nature table, which is going to be in part an actual winter nature table, but also it's going to include a lot of the projects that we want to do this month. So it's kind of like a themed table. So I'm going to show you all of the things that I am collecting in order to put together this themed unit and where I am getting these ideas from and some of the resources that I'm using. So the first thing I want to show you actually is the Waldorf kindergarten curriculum from Live Education. And right now I am showing you the autumn book. I do have the winter book, but I have lent it to a friend. But I'm just going to flip through this so that you get an idea of what is in the curriculum and how you can use it in your homeschool or just in your home. Now, the winter themed book is going to have different stories and different music and different crafts and different recipes, but at least you can see that this is the bulk of what the curriculum is for kindergarten, and it's very thematic for each of the seasons, and there are different celebrations for each season and different crafts to do, and it's a really nice way to present the information for a kindergarten student. Now, my child is 6, so she's still kindergarten for a Waldorf school, but she's also first grade in the traditional school. And so we are doing mostly kindergarten work, but on occasion we might throw in a couple of things that are first grade. I'm going to show you what we're doing that's more first grade oriented a little bit later on in this video. The other thing I want to show you is my homeschool binder, and I have a lot of stuff in here, but it really needs to get reorganized. In the meantime, I want to show you that I have started to create these different tabs here that are for the seasons with materials that we can use during that season. So this is the one that's for winter. This is out of the book called Winter, which I also have, but I decided to photocopy pages that I wanted to use because I didn't want to use everything that was in the book. There were certain stories and songs that I definitely wanted to add for this particular season. And then I also have it here for the autumn, and I also just kind of printed off those pages, and I just kept this in this binder. Eventually I want to reorganize this binder so that this one just has the 4 seasons with all the things that we want to do, different projects, different kits that we're using, and then transfer out the other subjects that are in here, the history, the math, and put that in a different binder. But I just wanted to quickly share that that's how I am organizing those things. So I have a variety of books that I'm going to be using that are going to be resource material for me and also be things that I want for my child. For instance, this book called Winter is Coming is one that will be displayed on our nature table, and then I can read this to her whenever she likes. We also intend to introduce some poetry, and I've got 2 books here that are going to help me choose some things that we like. This one is called A Journey Through Time in Verse and Rhyme, and this one is the Waldorf Book of Poetry, and we have really used this book as well as the Waldorf Book of Animal Poetry a lot recently, and I really like the collection of poems that are in here. It's definitely not something you read cover to cover. You have to be selective of the poems that you want for whatever unit you are doing. Some of the other books that we have, this one is called The Blue Forest, and I chose this book for this season just because of the colors and just the feel of this book, and it just seems kind of cozy and warm, and it feels like winter to me, and that's why I picked it out. And also, I'm very much into color for the different seasons, and so for me, winter is blue and white and gray and silver, and so this will look good on our nature table. It'll look like it goes with it. I also have a couple of resource materials that I'm going to be using in order to include some main lessons, I suppose you can call them. If your child was younger, like 6 or younger, then I wouldn't call them a main lesson. They could just be activities that you're doing For my 6-year-old, we'll be doing a lot of block crayon coloring and watercoloring and form drawing. And so for that, I have learning to see the world through drawing, and this will be something that I can pull out some information for me so that I can better instruct her or help her when we are constructing our drawings. So a lot of this is pretty advanced, so I wouldn't be doing a lot of these things with my first grader or kindergartner. My 6-year-old, you'd be doing a lot more simple things when it comes to drawing at that age. We also have color dynamics, and I haven't used this book yet, but I'm really excited to get started with this one. We're going to be using this one during our watercolor sessions, and so far we've been doing just a lot of free watercolors, or my daughter will just do her own designs. We did do a couple of guided lessons together this past season, and I'm linking that video down below. We did a watercolor painting of a pumpkin. We did the same one the previous year, so I'll link both of those so you can get an idea of what some of the guided lessons look like. I also have Crafts Through the Year, and this is not my favorite book, but if you had a lot of natural materials and you were looking for ways to create projects out of them, then I think that this would be a really good resource. But so far I've only picked out maybe 2 projects from here to do, and one of them was the project with the kite paper, and I'm going to show you what kite paper is in a minute, but you can see that these are really wonderfully creative with a lot of materials that you would find in nature. So I'm going to keep this out and available in case some of these projects end up being things that we do this season. All right, so let me show you the crayons that we are using, because they are a little bit different than what you would expect unless you're familiar with the Waldorf philosophy. We have the stick crayons, which are larger than a typical stick crayon, and we also have the block crayons, which are, I think, a unique shape that are going to really help in the younger years get nice color across the page. We can do this drawing in Want to take this? Thank you. We can do this drawing or you can do this drawing in a main lesson book, or you can do it on a large sheet of paper. For the younger years, like kindergarten and if you're doing drawing in kindergarten, it would be on a really large sheet of paper, and same with first grade. So I wouldn't go smaller than 9 inches by 12 inches. And you could do this in a main lesson book, and this is a 9-inch by 12-inch main lesson book, and it just has some nice drawing paper. And this is the one that we're using for our form drawing. So I want to show you that. This is something else that we'll continue to do. We did this already, but we'll continue to do it throughout the winter months, and we're using Creative Form Drawing, workbook number 1. So this is ages 6 to 10. And it's by Angela Lord, and I have a number of videos on our form drawing, so I've linked those down below and you can check them out if you'd like. And we will continue with this. We also, let me show you this one really quickly. We won't be using this one necessarily, but this is a workbook, and you can actually draw in the workbook, and it comes with these lines, or dots rather, to help you construct the drawing, or the form drawing.
Can I draw in here?
Yeah, you can draw in here. All right, something else I want to show you, and this will help you if you are new to block crayon drawing. This is called Coloring with Block Crayons, and it comes with
a CD?
Yeah, a DVD. Comes with a DVD. There are 3 DVDs in here, and then it comes with the booklet with it, and the instructor is fantastic. I've learned a lot, even though we've been using block crayons for years. I've learned a lot by reading this and watching the DVD. So this is something that we will use, especially because it uses the primary colors. So it just uses the 3 block crayons, and then from that you create your blue or your greens and your oranges and your purples. And so I like that, because though I knew that this is something that you do in the primary grades in like 1st grade and 2nd grade, I actually have never really done that with my kids, and so I'm really looking forward to trying that out with my daughter.
Orange?
That one actually is supposed to be red, but it looks orange in the picture, but it's actually red. Okay, let me show you just three more books, and then we'll move on to some of the projects that we have planned. We have the Grimm's Fairy Tales, and we will be picking out a couple of fairy tales that we want to read.
Fairy tales?
Fairy tales, they're like stories. And then also, we have The Way... They're not real stories now. And then we also have The Way of the Gnome, Tales of Limendor Woods. And this is a read aloud that I will be reading to both my 6-year-old and my 11-year-old. And I've got one more book here. This is called The Elves and the Shoemaker, and this is based on a fairy tale. And this is a really, really beautiful book. And it just has kind of like a wintry feel to it, and so we will be putting this out on our nature table.
Eat hot chocolate.
Yeah, definitely have hot chocolate. I should have had that here.
Books?
Yeah, we'll definitely.
It's summer still.
Well, my daughter said it's summer still. It's December and it's really warm outside. But yes, we will definitely get some hot chocolate, some marshmallows, some books, and we'll just cozy up and do that for sure. All right, so we also are going to do some watercoloring. Yeah, you can hold on to that. I found some, this ribbon that my daughter has. I thought it would look nice on the nature table, but I'm gonna hand that over to her. We're using our Stockmar watercolors, but we'll also use other watercolors as well. These come really concentrated, and then you just mix them with some water. And I haven't decided which watercolors we want to do, like what kind of designs we want to do, but I am thinking of trying out working with some negative space, and so we will watercolor something that's basically all blue, and then we can do negative space in like the form of a snowflake, or maybe even a tree or something like that. And also my daughter just likes to do a lot of watercoloring anyway, so she will probably do her own designs. I want to show you the watercolor brush that is typical in the younger years. This is a broad brush, and the watercolor paper, I would recommend, if you're doing wet on wet, to use this really large Strathmore paper. This is large and it's also heavy. It's 140 pound, and I do not remember the dimensions, but it is fairly large. Yeah, I got some rocks there too. Let me put this aside. Actually, let me show you the other watercolor paper that we typically use. This is by Fabriano. This one comes in a couple of different sizes. This is a larger size, but you can see that it's still quite a bit smaller than this really large one here. This one is great for just watercoloring, but it does not, this paper is not good for wet on wet. This is 90 pound watercolor paper. It just doesn't hold up well to that much water. And plus there's only a 25% cotton content in this one, and that could also contribute to it not being able to hold a lot of water. This one still, I don't know the cotton content on this one, but it's 140 pound and it works really well. You can dunk the entire thing in water and then sponge off the excess water, and then it's ready for use. Okay, so the last things I want to show you are actually going to be things that are decorating our nature table. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about all of these except for the projects we want to do. I've pulled some beautiful silks that I think will look really nice. Well, we could. The thing is that leaf actually went with these pine cones, and this is a fall leaf, which is really crumbly now. It's like very brittle, and so I don't know that it's going to last completely. But we also have our basket that has pine cones that we've collected throughout the autumn that we will also keep on our school table throughout the winter. But because this is quite large, it's not going to fit on our nature table, but it is something that we're going to have, and we'll continue to add to these. So I wanted to show you that it mostly has pine cones, but also has some seed pods and other things. And then the silks will, some of them, not all of them, will decorate the nature table, and then the kids can play with the other ones. Let me put these aside, sweetheart. We also have a couple of rocks here, and we found these at a local beach, and the reason why I picked them out to put on our nature table is basically for the color and for the coolness of them, because I feel like winter is a cool time, and we live in Southern California, so it's not like super cold, but I feel like it just has that feeling of winter since they are cool, and plus I like the colors. Picked out ones that kind of have that color theme that I'm going for. Some of the other projects and things that are going to decorate.
Peg dolls.
That's right, the winter peg dolls. Finger puppets, yeah. So last year, maybe the year before, I made a set of winter finger puppets. And so these ones will be on our nature table because since our nature table is also a place where my daughter has playthings and it's a winter themed table, these things will be there so that she can use them in her pretend play. I'm going to show you something else that I have for that. But we're also going to be making some new winter inspired finger puppets. So look out for those. Some of the other projects that we have that are, you know, they're projects, but they're also materials that are going to decorate our school table are these felt snowflakes. These are from Over the River Felt. This is a new company to me. They have a number of felt products, regular sheets, and then also die cuts. And they have the 100% wool felt that I love, but they also carry wool blends, which are a lot more affordable, as well as bamboo felt, which is super cool. So all of their die cuts, their felt die cuts are made in a wool blend. I believe it's 35% wool and 65% rayon. And this pack comes with a variety of snowflakes in different patterns. And I think there are two patterns here. So these are the large ones. So what we intend to do with these is use some of this DMC embroidery thread in this beautiful metallic, this silver metallic. I also have it in the gold, and we will do some really simple embroidery in here. And this might be too complicated, or you know, the skill set might be a little bit advanced for my 6-year-old, but my 11-year-old can do this. And that's what's really great about having mixed ages in your homeschool, is that the older kids can do the projects that are their level, but it's for the younger kids. So we'll be doing that project as well. And they also come in these smaller sizes. These are really beautiful. Okay, something else from Over the River Felt. This is holly. These are leaves with the berries. And so, actually, let me do this. So this is something else that we'll do as a project, or you know, you can stitch them together. You can even just make it like a wreath or a garland. And the only thing is that you might not see this on our nature table because I'm really into the colors that I've chosen. And so this doesn't actually match. So that's just my thing. You can get creative with the rainbow when it comes to decorating your nature table. It's just that for me, these will be projects that we do that may not decorate that particular space. Along with the color theme, I have this beautiful little ceramic bird that is just the color of winter for me. And she might be there on the table for winter, and then later she might just stick around for spring. I also have this beautiful ceramic little vase that I intend to also use since the colors are perfect for winter, and I'll probably just put some twigs or something in it. We also went ahead and made this little covered this tin can with that beautiful watercolor paper that I showed you, which actually happened to be left over from when I made my son's main lesson book for his ocean main lesson block. So I had some leftover paper. I really liked the watercolor that we did. So I went ahead and I just covered this tin can. It can have the crayons or the color pencils that we're going to use for our projects, and we can just have that on our nature table. The paper I wanted to show you earlier is called kite paper, and it is this translucent paper, and we use it to make these sun catchers, and you can also use it to make other designs that, like, you know, like stained glass that you could have like in the window. So we'll definitely be using these for stars, and then we might consider doing some winter designs as well. That is something that we are going to be doing as a project, and that is the book that we have. Something else is that we're going to have our diffuser. I've picked out some. I'll show you what we're going to do with that in a second. I'll show you. So the essential oils that we picked out are orange, the bitter orange, pine needles, wintergreen, and cinnamon bark. One other thing I want to show you, we picked up last year and I really like it. This is by Sarah's Silks, and it is this little PlayStation thing. Did I do this wrong? Oh, anyway, so then you just put this on here just like this. I think I've actually assembled it wrong. There's a larger one that goes here. But anyway, I have a video on this. I'm going to link it down below, and you can just see that this creates this little play space. You're not getting a good view of it this way, but last year we made some peg dolls. These were some of our very first peg dolls that we made last year. My daughter helped me make these, and we got the inspiration from a peg doll making book, which I'm going to show you shortly. And these ones are for our winter table this year because they just had that wintry feel. And then you have...
Where's the wizard?
I don't have the wizard yet. Let me put this aside and show some of the rest of the things that we're going to be using.
Now winter.
But what I want to say is that after we put together our fall nature table, I started to collect things that I thought would go good for our winter nature table so that when it came time to assemble it, we would have everything that we needed. So I just want to show you some of the things that I found that I'm choosing in part because of their color and in part because little dishes are perfect for storing little things that are going to be on the table.
These could be for when we put hot chocolate.
Yeah, these are actually coasters, so they'd be perfect for when we have our hot chocolate. I have some of these beautiful round glass orbs that I thought would look nice on the table. And the last thing I want to show you, is that the last thing? I feel like I had one more thing beyond this. Just a couple other things. These are some projects that we actually already started. They are these beautiful little candles that we made using some old wax from a really large candle. They smell really good. Yeah, they smell like cinnamon. And then the last thing is that I have some really beautiful geodes from a geode kit that the kids just broke open, or they just did, and they cracked open these geodes. And so I want a couple of them on our nature table because I feel like that is nice for winter. So for all the projects that we're going to be doing, oh yeah, I did forget one thing. Completely forgot the inspiration for our peg dolls. So we do a lot of peg dolls just on our own, just our own ideas, but we have gotten amazing inspiration from making peg dolls and more, and making peg dolls. These books are beautiful, and the peg dolls are amazing.
These are the ones I want.
Yeah, my kids have already flagged all the pages that they want, and one of these goes through the seasons. I think it's the other one. Yeah. This one is divided up by the seasons, so it makes it really easy to choose activities that would work well for the season that you're in. And so we are going to be making these for, part of our winter unit. Okay, I have a couple more things to share with you. This is my knitting basket, and it needs to seriously be cleaned out because we're going to be doing some knitting this winter, as we always try to do every winter. Now, this activity will be mostly for my 11-year-old and myself, as my 6-year-old isn't quite ready for knitting, but she will be soon. But she can do other handcrafts. We did some weaving earlier on in the year, and it turned into these really great fun pom-pom balls and other things. So I'm going to clean this out and then sort through it and figure out some things that will work for her as well as my son. I also want to show you some new felt that we recently got. This is from A Child's Dream. She sent me these for a peg doll exchange, and I'm really excited to get crafting with this, but these colors are really beautiful. This is the winter collection. It's called Winter's Cape, and along with that I also got some more peg dolls because we go through them so quickly. My children really love to craft with these, and of course we have a number of winter inspired peg dolls and finger puppets coming up, and I want to show you the tiniest one because it is so cute. I have some ideas on what we're going to do with these little ones as well. The last couple of things I want to show you, oopsies. We have this marbling kit that we are excited to use, and I thought maybe we would get around to it this winter. I'm not sure, but I wanted to pull it out so that we could possibly do that. One last thing that I forgot to mention that we only mentioned briefly about hot chocolate is like all the food that we want to make this winter season. So along with the crafts and the artwork and the stories, we also want to do some things in the kitchen. So bread making is still a really big activity for kindergarten and first and second grade, and so that's something that we'll definitely continue to do. Putting a twist on it and turning that bread into cinnamon rolls is perfect for this season, and then soups and warming food is definitely going to be on the menu as well. So we have handwork, we have artwork, we have stories, we have lessons, we have cooking, we have nature walks. All of these things are going to be part of our winter themed unit. So now that I have all of my materials available, I can go through it and choose the poems that we want to use and the fairy tales that we want to use. And once I wrote everything down, I transferred it to the computer. And here's the printout of, this is basically just my really long to-do list. And it's about 5 pages long, and I just wrote down everything that we wanted to do. And I know that it's a little bit specific for the things that we want to do, like as far as the projects that we want to do and the books that we have, but I went ahead and I put this into a lesson plan, and this is a 7-week lesson plan, and this is available if you're interested. You can find more information in the description box below. And I went ahead and I transferred all of the information that I had in here, as well as additional information, and I started to go and I filled in a 7-week lesson plan. And I might make this longer, but right now it's 7 weeks, and I left the date blank so that I could fill that in. And the way that I'm going to use this is more like a massive checklist rather than a day-to-day lesson plan, because this kind of format works really good for a themed unit that's going to last over several months, and it's going to have some repetition, but basically we're going to be working on different projects, and I'm not sure which week we're going to have a little bit more time to work on some projects that are a little bit more involved, and other times where we're just not going to be able to do anything that week as far as extra hands-on activities. And then sometimes we'll be really productive and we'll do a lot of things in 1 week. Now I want to point out something that I did right here, and I've only done it for 1 week. And if you can see, this is the fairy tale or story slot. And I'm going to be using a lot of fairy tales for this, and I'm using my Grimm's fairy tale book. A lot of those fairy tales have parts of the story that may be disturbing for you as an adult or for your children. Now I went ahead and I put in italics all the parts that I think might be a little bit disturbing. But I have at least previewed the entire first week because I read these to my children, and my 6-year-old, who is very sensitive to these kinds of things, was okay with them. So you will need to just decide on your own whether you're going to be okay with reading these fairy tales or if you need to make adjustments and changes. I went ahead and left them in here. I've got them for all 12 weeks, but I did not add more details for the other ones because it's been years since I've read them and I don't remember those kinds of details at this point. And so this is one area that may be changed over time, but the rest of it is just basically an outline of what we're going to be doing week by week. The other thing is that there are also some blank spots in here. I didn't want to overpack this, and if you're finding that this is still too much for you, you can totally skip over some of the more involved projects. I went ahead and I left some areas blank so that I could write in things that we were doing, and there are some things that, for instance, with the peg dolls, I went ahead and wrote that in all 5 days. I don't know which day we're actually going to have time to do this trio of bunting babies, but it's probably only going to be 1 or 2 days. But I went ahead and I just filled it in because I'm not sure which day that's going to be. There are a lot of changes when it comes down to actually doing any kind of lesson plan. And so if you check back with me at the end of this unit, I'll let you know how it all worked out and which materials we liked and which materials we didn't like. All right, so for more information, don't forget to check the description box below. If you want to check out some of the other things that we've done for our previous seasonal units, you can tap on the screen right now. And don't forget that you can find me on a daily basis by visiting me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.